Kremlin propagandists announced the most massive airstrike on Ukraine the day before the special operation Web. The SBU presumably thwarted the enemy's dangerous plans. The publication texts drew attention to this. On May the 30th, the Russian propaganda publication Bloknot published a large article with the following headline: Operation Zeus Lightning. Putin has prepared a crushing blow to Ukraine in case of refusal of Russia's demands in Istanbul. Strategic bombers are awaiting orders. Indeed, in those days, OSINT experts observed abnormal activity at the airfields of the strategic aviation of the aggressor country. The Russian Federation was pulling dozens of Tu-22M3 and Tu-95MS bombers to the Olenya and Engels bases, preparing for a massive attack. In the face of the Kremlin's grandiose plans, disguised under the pompous name Zeus Lightning, Ukraine not only stood firm, it struck a blow that rewrote the rules of modern air warfare. While Russian propaganda was trumpeting an impending unprecedented missile attack, threatening Kyiv with a crushing blow if it refused to heed the ultimatums, the Security Service of Ukraine, SBU, was already preparing its own, far more effective and daring operation called Web. Kremlin propagandists painted in vivid colors how Russian dictator Putin prepared a crushing blow to Ukraine. According to their version, dozens of strategic bombers, Tu-22M3 and Tu-95MS, were concentrated at the airfields of Olenya and Engels. Not shy of epithets, they predicted an unlimited missile strike that was supposed to show the West what a potential conflict with Russia would mean for it. It was noted that up to 40 Tu-22M3 out of 60 available to the Russian Federation were transferred to Olenya, as well as dozens of other strategic aircraft, including Tu-95MS and Tu-160 to Engels. The airfields were allegedly seething with activity, accepting Il-76 transport aircraft with new missiles that such activity has not been observed for 3 years. The Kremlin openly threatened to end the active phase as harshly and quickly as possible if Ukraine refused the proposed memorandum. However, these threats, filled with bravado and exaggeration, crumbled to dust on June the 1st. On that day, Ukrainian forces carried out an unprecedented operation called Web, aimed at 4 key Russian strategic aviation airfields at once: Belaya, Diaghilevo, Olenya and Ivanovo. The result of this fine work by the SBU was a cold shower for Russian strategists. According to Ukrainian special services, 41 aircraft were hit during the attack, including rare and valuable A-50 AWACS aircraft, as well as Tu-95, Tu-22M3 and Tu-160 strategic bombers capable of carrying nuclear weapons. Ukraine was able to neutralize about 34% of strategic cruise missile carriers at their main bases. This operation did not just reduce the threat of future missile attacks, it undermined the very foundation of the missile baton with which the Kremlin is trying to blackmail Ukraine and the West.
On the night of Monday, June 9th, the Ukrainian Defense Forces launched an attack on the Savoslayka airfield in the Nizhny Novgorod region of the Russian Federation, as a result of which 2 aircraft were hit. This was stated by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. It is noted that the airfield was attacked by units of the Special Operations Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine together with other components of the Defense Forces of Ukraine. The General Staff recalled that Russian occupiers are using Savoslayka to launch attacks on Ukrainian territory. In particular, MiG-31K fighters, which carry Kinzhal aeroballistic missiles, regularly take off from this airfield. According to preliminary data from the General Staff, 2 enemy aircraft were hit at the airfield. These were probably MiG-31 and Su-30-34 aircraft. The General Staff also added that the results of the combat operations are being clarified. According to the Ukrainian side, MiG-31K fighters equipped with Kinzhal missiles, which are used against targets in Ukraine, take off from this airfield. In August 2024, main intelligence directorate drones destroyed 3 and damaged 5 Russian aircraft at the Savas-Lyka military airfield. The attack was organized by the SBU and the Defense Forces, the Armed Forces, the Special Operations Forces, the Center for Unmanned Systems of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense and other branches of the Armed Forces. NV sources confirm that this was a specially planned operation to prevent the Russians from using these airports to launch KAB strikes on the front lines and Ukrainian cities. The distance from Savas-Lyka to the Ukrainian border is about 660 kilometers as the crow flies on Google Maps. It is noted that the Russian aggressor uses Savas-Lyka to strike at Ukrainian territory. In particular, MiG-31K fighters, which are carriers of Kinzhal aero-ballistic missiles, regularly take off from this military facility.
Зараза, он тут стреляет. Вон он.
На нахуй! Еба! Еба!